Hey there, welcome back. Are you a fan of mystery, crime, and detective films like me? I'm pretty sure you've heard of Sherlock Holmes then. Whether it's Robert Downey Jr., Benedict Cumberbatch, or mind-reading mentalist Colin Cloud, who styles himself as a modern-day Sherlock, the concept of seeing someone's true self at a glance has fascinated the detective in us all. But was there a real Sherlock Holmes? And what grand mystery led to his fame? In 1877, a young medical student named Arthur Conan Doyle became Dr. Joseph Bell's clerk in the Edinburgh Royal Infirmary. By what Arthur saw in the good doctor's methods and powers of deduction and observation, he was inspired to create the character Sherlock Holmes. He could determine where sailors had sailed by looking at their tattoos. He can confirm a man's origin by listening to his accent, and a patient's job by looking at their hands. He famously deducted that one man was an alcoholic based on the fact that he kept a flask in his coat inside his breast pocket. He is said to have noticed that another man was a cobbler because the inside of the man's trousers knees were worn in a particular way. By analyzing someone's behavior and mannerisms, he seemed to be able to discern whether or not they had lied to him. And he passed this skill on to his students, often taking them into public and spurring them to make logical deductions about people on the streets. Arthur Conan Doyle was impressed. So impressed, in fact, that Dr. Bell's Sherlock appeared in the 1887 A Study in Scarlet. When Dr. Bell was revealed as the inspiration for Sherlock, his fame drew him to cases, and one in particular has become his most famous consulting job. Windsor Dudley Cecil Hambrough was a member of the Hambrough family of Pipewell Hall, Northamptonshire, and Steep Hill, Isle of Wight. In 1890, Alfred John Monson became Cecil Hambrough's tutor under the direction of Cecil's father, Major Hambrough. By 1892, a serious break in friendly relations had developed between Major Hambrough and John Monson. Despite the Major's best efforts to persuade his son to leave Monson's tutoring, Cecil remained under Monson's care. In 1892, Monson was bankrupt, and he and Cecil had to rely on the help of friends and those who were interested in Major Hambrough's estate. In May 1893, Monson secured a lease on the Ardlamont estate in Argyllshire under Cecil's name. He moved there with his family, with Cecil joining them in August. Cecil was living with Monson's wife, Monson, and the 3 children at Risley Hall, Yorkshire, for his education. On August 8th, a man named Scott arrived, claiming to be an engineer and a friend of Monson. On August 10th, 1893, Monson and Scott went hunting with Cecil in a woodland area of the Ardlamont estate. Suddenly, workers on the estate heard a gunshot and spotted Monson and Scott fleeing to the Ardlamont house with the firearms. The estate butler witnessed both Monson and Scott cleaning the firearms. When the estate butler asked, "Where is Mr. Cecil Hambrough?" Monson replied that Cecil had accidentally shot himself in the head while climbing a fence. When the incident was reported, the Ardlamont estate was visited by an official who concluded it was a horrible accident without a formal post-mortem. But 2 weeks later, Monson appeared at the fiscal office to report that Cecil Hambrough had taken out 2 life insurance policies worth £20,000 only 6 days before he died, and that they were made payable to Monson's wife. Cecil was 20 years old at the time and was set to inherit large property holdings when he turned 21 the following year. The police then discovered the life insurance policies on Hambrough, with the Monsons as the beneficiaries. It was discovered that before the deadly hunting expedition, Monson had been attempting to arrange Cecil's life insurance, eventually obtaining 2 £10,000 policies. It is then the prosecutors believed there was foul play. The body of Cecil was exhumed, and his wounds were re-examined. After a full examination of the estate and interviews with the estate workers, Monson was charged, and Scott was identified as his accomplice. Being charged with attempted murder and murder, Monson went to trial. According to the staff, they discovered no blood or evidence of a body in the ditch where Cecil was supposed to have fallen and shot himself. They discovered bone fragments and blood a few feet from where his body had been moved by Monson and Scott. Also, they discovered 12 bore gun cartridges that Cecil was said to have used for hunting. However, one bullet found in Cecil's hunting jacket pocket was for the bore .20 gun. The trial showcased how far the subject of medical forensics and forensic evidence was advancing, in that it brought together many different strands of forensics, including gun experts, medical jurists, and pioneering forensic experimentation. Dr. Joseph Bell, our Sherlock Holmes, was one of the prosecution's witnesses. Together with forensic experts of the day, Patrick Heron Watson, a renowned surgeon and expert on gunshot wounds, Dr. Joseph Bell informed the jury that he believed Monson killed Cecil Hambrough. He claimed that the victim could not have shot himself by mistake or on purpose. The gun would have been fired from a considerably longer distance, or the skull would have suffered significantly more damage. They also reasoned that the bullet entered the skull from behind rather than from the front, as it would if someone carrying a gun fell forward and accidentally shot it. They claimed that if the victim had shot himself, the gun residue would have been discovered, but there was none. The jury was told that marks on the trees in front of the victim showed pellet damage, and that this was due to bullet dispersing over a specific distance, as established by tests. Dr. Joseph Bell believed that there should have been pools of blood where the victim fell, as well as evidence of drag marks from Monson and Scott moving him, which were not spotted by the staff. Sadly, despite Dr. Joseph Bell's point of view, Monson was released free with the verdict of not proven. While the evidence was insufficient to condemn Monson, the whole thing was so bizarre and fortuitous that the finding of not guilty was rejected in favor of not proven. As a result, many people, especially the friends of young Cecil, were outraged by the judgment. Because of this shocking verdict, what happened to Cecil on the ancient lands of the Ardlamont estate is still one of Scotland's great mysteries. However, if the case had been brought today with modern investigation processes and technology, do you think that the outcome might have been different? Feel free to let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode, please give this video a thumbs up and stay tuned for more. Don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe. Thank you for watching.